Okay, this is Unit 17, Lesson 5. This is about parallel and perpendicular line relationships and slopes and equations. Okay, so if you think you're going to need any kind of question that you might possibly come up with, get yourself a piece of paper and something to write with so that you'll be able to write it down so you can bring it and ask it before we start work tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much, and let's get on with this and see what we got. Okay, definitions and things. Okay, so recall from earlier studies, like last year in Algebra 1, that the slope m of a line in terms of 2 points on the line, x1, y1, x2, y2, is given by this equation right here, which says that the slope is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, also recall that a positive slope line slopes upward when moving from left to right. So it would look like something like this. Okay, a negative slope slopes downward when you move from left to right. So it would look something like this. A horizontal line has a slope of 0, and it looks something like this. Okay, and then lastly we have a vertical line, which has an infinite or an undefined slope, and it looks like this. Okay, the reason it's undefined is because if you put it into the formula up here, you will come up with 0 for the denominator, which is not a valid thing that you can do. That's also why it's called infinite. Either one is a term that you may be able to use, depends on the situation. Okay, in this lesson we are primarily concerned with the relationship between the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. If two lines are parallel, then their slopes are equal. So if two equations have the same value for the slope, the two lines that they will generate will be parallel. Okay, if two lines are perpendicular, then their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so that means that M1 is equal to the negative 1 divided by the slope of the second line, which is equivalent to saying that if I multiply M1 times M2, I get negative 1. So if I multiply the slopes of two lines together and I get negative 1, then I know they intersect at a 90-degree angle because they're perpendicular. Okay, example 1, they want you to find the slope of a line passing through 9, negative 7, and 14, 13. What is the equation of this line? Okay, so first thing, find the slope, which when we do that gives us 13 minus negative 7 over 14 minus 9 gives us 20 over 5, which is equal to 4. Okay, to get the slope, to get the equation of the line, we're going to use the point slope method. So this is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. This is much easier than using slope-intercept because we only have to use one point and we just have to do it one time. So this gives us this if we use the first point. So y minus negative 7 is equal to 4 times x minus 9. Simplify this out. This gives us y plus 7 equals 4x minus 36. Then subtract the 7 from both sides, which gives us y is equal to 4x minus 43. Okay. Example 2, what is the equation of the line passing through 2, negative 1 and is perpendicular to the line given by 2y plus 6x minus 19 equals 0? So the first thing we have to do is find the slope of the line that they gave us the equation for and find out what's going on here. So if we put this into y-intercept form, which means we have the y on one side by itself the number that ends up in front of the x is going to be our slope. So this gives when we subtract the 6x and the 19 and the negative 19 from both sides, this gives us 2y equals negative 6x plus 19. Divide everything by 2, gives us y equals negative 3x plus 19 over 2. So the slope here of this line is going to be negative 3. So since we want the one that's perpendicular, we need to have the negative reciprocal of this, which means we change the sign and flip it upside down. So the perpendicular slope is going to be positive 1/3. So once again, we go to our point intercept, our point slope form. Sorry about that. Point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we know that the slope is 1/3, and we know that the point it needs to go through is 2, negative 1. So this gives us y minus negative 1 is equal to 1/3 times x minus 2. So y plus 1 is equal to 1/3 x minus 2/3. Subtract the 1 from both sides. Well, actually what I did here is I got a common denominator to begin with. So the 1 becomes 3 over 3. So I subtract the 3 over 3 from both sides. That gives me y equals 1/3 x minus 2/3 minus 3/3, which is y equals 1/3 x minus 5/3. Okay, so this line right here is perpendicular to the original line, which is this point slope form over here. So if we actually multiply the negative 3 times positive 1/3, we will get negative 1 for our answer. So we know they're perpendicular. Okay, example 3. If point E is at the origin, so it has the coordinates of 0, 0, and F has coordinates 4, negative 2. They want to know what is the slope of line AB. Okay, so the center of the circle is at 0, 0. Point F down here is the coordinates 4, negative 2. They want the slope of this chord up here at the top. Okay, so here's what the thing is. Since we know that this is perpendicular to this and this is perpendicular here because there's a 90-degree angle indicated, if we can find the slope of EF, then we'll know that the same slope will be true of AB. So we know that the point E has the coordinates 0, 0, and F has the coordinates 4, negative 2. So we use the slope formula to find the slope of EF, which is negative 2 over 0 over 4 minus 0, which is negative 1/2. Okay, so EF has to be parallel to AB because both of these are perpendicular to a radius. So that means the slope of AB has to equal negative 1/2 also. Okay, example 4. What is the product of the slope of AB and BD if segment AD is a diameter of this circle? Okay, so if AD is a diameter here, AB and BD go together to form angle B, which intercepts the diameter. That means that angle B has to be 90 degrees. Okay, so that tells us that those two are perpendicular. So that means that whatever their slopes are, when you multiply them together, give you negative 1. Okay, this is not telling us what the slope of either one is, but it tells us that they are in the relationship. One is the negative reciprocal of the other because they form a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's this one. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure if you got any questions, you bring them to class so we can get them answered before you start any work tomorrow. See you later. Thanks very much. Good night.